Welcome back to the Hebert house. Today I thought I would give a little homeschool update. For those of you who don't know, I brought my 12-year-old home mid-year this year to start homeschooling. I won't get into the logistics of why I did it mid-year, but I will say that it had a lot to do with what he was learning and how he was learning, and I just wasn't comfortable with those things. So we brought him home and started homeschooling, and we've been at it for about a month. And so I was going to tell you a little bit of what we've learned and kind of what we're covering. So the first couple of weeks we did something that's called deschooling. What deschooling is just that, is deschooling from public school and getting accustomed to homeschooling. It wasn't a time where I was not teaching Bobby. I was still teaching him, I was just not using a curriculum. So every day we would still read, we would still do some form of math, science, history, but it was kind of a time of adjustment where it got him used to seeing mom in a teacher role, and it gave me a chance to see him in a student role, and we got comfortable with each other on those aspects where we realized when we go into the classroom, I'm no longer mom all the time. I'm still mom, of course, but I'm not mom all the time, and he's not Bobby all the time. And I think it's so important to establish those roles, but it's really hard if you jump in from public school to homeschool. The other thing is just kind of getting accustomed to the more laid-back lifestyle of homeschooling. And it may be different in other homeschools. Ours, we are laid back. We do enjoy being able to go and do as we need to. And I do keep a stricter schedule some days, but like on Fridays, we don't do regular curriculum. We do learning curriculum where we go out and we do stuff, or we go to a field trip, or we, just learn in different ways. So finding that balance through deschooling and slowing down from the pace of public school. My little boy was getting up at 6 in the morning, and by 7 o'clock we were leaving the house. He was going into school still asleep, really. And so just kind of finding our flow. So that's the second thing I'm going to bring up, is the trial and error that we have kind of had to learn to get used to in homeschooling. We originally had said, oh, well, you know what, we'll just start at 9, get up at 8, you get your breakfast, we'll start at 9. Well, that did not work. One, we were going way later into the afternoon than I had originally wanted to. And the second thing is, by 9 o'clock, Bobby was already kind of like in ADD land, I felt. So starting earlier not only allowed us to have more time in the afternoon for fun activities, but his attention span was better. And so we have adjusted to where he gets up at 7, we do a read aloud where we read together, and then we'll go into breakfast and then get into curriculum. So that allows us to kind of have a time for him to wake up, but while we do our read aloud, he's kind of waking up and getting ready for the day. He eats his breakfast, he goes and gets dressed, and then he comes down and he's actually ready for school. So that was a trial and error that we were able to do, and it really worked very well. The other trial and error that we did is we dropped Bible class. I know, I'm so bad, but I'm not, because the curriculum we're using is Obeka Academy, and it is a faith-based curriculum. It is, all centered around God's earth and how these different subjects kind of fit into that while still teaching the curriculum. And what I was noticing was that we were having a Bible class right after our social studies class that were basically teaching the same thing. So 45 minutes of instruction in social studies and 45 minutes instruction in Bible, teaching the same thing, and my kids, there was smoke coming out of his ears and his eyes were crossing, and we just couldn't, it was a really hard thing to get through. So I made the decision, because he still gets Bible teaching through church, and we're still doing the verse memorization, but we're just not sitting through that extra 45 minutes of Bible curriculum. And I made that decision. That is my right as a homeschool mom, is to be able to kind of tweak the curriculum how I feel is best for my child. So that was the other trial and error that we did. If you see me kind of looking down, I do have notes, but The next thing that I was gonna say is kind of a personal item. We had a death in the family this month. My ex-husband, Bobby's dad's it would be his dad's great-grandmother, and it would be Bobby's great-great-grandmother, was 96 years old and had gotten sick, and they did not expect her to live very much longer at this point, or at the point which I'm going to address. And so I made the decision that we were going to skip school that day. We would push the lessons back a day, and we were going to go and we were going to get a real life lesson. And that lesson was in grieving. Sorry. We got a lesson in grieving, and we took that time. We went and surrounded the family with love. Bobby got to be around his family as they were going through this tough time, and he got to say goodbye to his great-grandmother, who he is very close to. They are an Italian family, and she was the matriarch and embodied everything that you would imagine an Italian matriarch to embody. And so their family's very close, and he was very close to her. And so he was able to take that time and go and get that closure. And with the age he is now at 12, I really think that this is his first experience with grieving. He's lost grandparents in the past, but not that he knew on that level, and not at a point in his life where he was old enough to grieve, I believe. So we were able to take the time to do that. Later in that week, Grandma Rose passed away, and where, we would have missed a day for school for him to go down to spend time with his family, he was distraught. He was very upset. He was crying. He would just randomly start crying, I think, because he did finally realize that he wasn't going to get to see her, and the time he saw her last was the last time, which, as a parent, seeing your child grieve for the first time was heartbreaking, because you can say all the right things. You can say, oh, they're in heaven, they're going all these, they're going to, be okay, but just having him to hold and being able to take the time out of school after she passed away, for him to really just be able to grieve and to be okay, was priceless to us. And we wouldn't have been able to do that if he was in public school. He wouldn't have had the liberty to do that, because he would have missed too much school and truancy and all of that. But because we could take school with us, we can shift lessons around. So he was able to do some of that stuff this weekend that he'd missed last week while our family was going through that. And that is enough for me to love our experience with homeschooling. It was just incredible. So that is a big part of our homeschool this month. Is just that we are trucking right along. He is enjoying the curriculum. He is enjoying being at home with me. He gets to be at home with Nanny, who is my grandmother who lives with us. And so he's really getting a lot of life experiences along with the day-to-day curriculum learning that he's getting. And it's incredible to see him learn and to see the things that he picks up on. He's so smart, and I know every parent says that about their kid, but he really is. So, I'm really excited about the rest of this journey. We have decided as a family to go with year-round curriculum, and so I'll kind of probably post a video on why as well. So that also gives us a little bit more playroom where we can go on vacation during different seasons, not just summer. It's very hot in Georgia, so summer is, So the only other thing I was going to tell you, and then I'll finish up, is I was just going to give you kind of a heads up on what we're reading in our homeschool. So I know that there are other curriculum programs that require reading, and I know that a couple of the other YouTubers that I follow, like Homeschool on the Hill, I'll tag her below. She's fantastic. But I know that they use different curriculums that have books that come with it. Well, Abeka Academy does not. They do have books that they publish that you can purchase, but they don't come with the program. And part of the curriculum for the English class for 7th grade is to do several book reports. And so they have categories. You have to do like a biblical biography, a regular biography, a Christian fiction, an informational. So there's different categories that you pick. And so to start Bobby's first book report through Abeka, I have got this book for him. This is not a Christian-based book, and I'm not really 100% sure that Abeka Academy would really approve of this because of, the things that you and I know about Michael Phelps. So, but me as a parent, I want Bobby to read this, and this is why. Bobby is a swimmer. That is his sport of choice, and recently he's kind of gotten a little discouraged. And so I'm hoping that by reading this biography that he got for Christmas a couple of years ago, it will encourage him just to try harder, be more determined, and it can also teach him, I'm hoping, that when people make mistakes, you can overcome and you can do great things. So this is the book that he is reading. For our read aloud, I don't have it in here with me, but for our read aloud, we are reading Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which is my favorite Harry Potter book. And what we do every morning is we just kind of read a chapter, and then once we're done, we're gonna watch the movie and kind of have like a compare and contrast day where we watch the movie and then we talk about how the book differs from the movie and why we like each one. And then just because I want to throw it in as a book recommendation, or just because y'all may be interested in what I'm reading, is I am reading Lauren Graham, who I love as Lorelai Gilmore. I'm reading her biography, and it's called Talking as Fast as I Can, and she's hilarious, y'all. She's great. I mean, honestly, I probably read this as Lorelai Gilmore when I'm reading it, which makes it better for me, but I love it. So I recommend this one. I am, you can kind of see about halfway through, and so, yeah, I just wanted to let you know what I was reading as well. So those are the books that we're reading this month. I figure I would just do one of these little monthly updates for homeschool each month and just kind of tell you guys what we're doing. And I wanted to finish with a little word of encouragement. And I'm not gonna be one of those homeschool moms that's like, you should homeschool your kids, because I know it's not for everyone. But if you are on the fence, I was on the fence about homeschooling Bobby from 4th grade all the way up to when we pulled him out of 7th grade. And I wish every day that we would have started earlier. The changes I see in him already are crazy cool and amazing, and this the way he's learning. So if you are on the fence, I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna be one of those crazy homeschool moms that's like, you gotta do it. But if you're on the fence, I strongly suggest talking to someone who homeschools or following your heart. You're the mama, you're the daddy, you know your kid best, and you know what's gonna be best for them. And if you think being at home and homeschooling them is gonna be best for them, then you should do it, because it is making all the difference in our family dynamic, in our boy and me, and it is just the most rewarding job I've ever had in my entire life. So there's my little spiel on that. But that's all I really have for that. Thank you guys for listening. I can't wait to tell you a little bit more about us as we go. I'm also going to be filming our classroom tour probably next month. I'm still finishing up a couple of things, but I love the way it's coming together, and I love the space that I get to teach homeschool in. So I hope y'all have a great day, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe below if you want to see more videos like this or any of the other ones. If you have homeschool subjects that you would like for me to cover, leave those below too, and I'll try to get to those. So have a great day. God bless.